Hello? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her.
It's about 10 inches of snow on the ground right now and I love it. You want to see it? I have to show you before. Okay, the snow has actually stopped. I'm so excited I get to film this Q&A. If you are someone who follows me and you're just nosy and you've been wanting to know kind of how I got to New York, how I moved here from Los Angeles, and how I've afforded it and got the courage to do it and yada yada yada, you're gonna get that from this video. If you're someone who just saw the title, you're like, oh my god, I'm trying to move to New York. How do I do it? What are your tips? That is going to be answered in this video as well. How did I step into a completely new situation without doubt or feeling terrified? And I think for me personally, it's because this is my second time doing it and everything is easier once you do it for the first time. If this is your first move, just remember that if it doesn't work out, you can always go back. You can always come up with a new plan and you can move on. So if you move to New York City and it turns out to be everything that you dreamed of, that's amazing, and like, thank God that you chose to do this. But if it turns out to be a disaster, you know, find your next move. That's so okay. It's okay to not go with your first plan. What would your like little kid version of yourself do? Like, little Lexie always wanted to live in New York City. Like, I had to do this for 7-year-old Lexie that just wanted this, you know? And when present day and 7-year-old Lexie were starting to have similar dreams again, it was like, okay, do this. Kind of just be fearless and go with what you want. Now, money. That could be a huge deterring factor, because you might have the drive and the courage to get to New York City, but you're like, how am I supposed to afford this? I do not know how I'm going to afford to live in New York City. You might have to make sacrifices. If you have about $1,500 a month to spend on rent in LA, you could probably get yourself a fairly nice studio, maybe even a 1-bedroom apartment that has a doorman, a mail keeper, an elevator, a washer and dryer in your unit, a balcony, a dishwasher. What else? What seems probably like, you know, somewhat necessities and somewhat luxuries. For the same price in New York City, you would get, like, this is my bed up here. There's not enough room to have a queen bed and also like a desk in here, really. So, I don't have a dishwasher. I live on a 6th floor walk up. There's no elevator. There's no doorman. We don't have an washer or dryer unit. But it's okay, because like my standard of living, I knew that coming to New York it was going to be different, because it's all relative. If I saw this place in LA, I wouldn't pay for it because I know I could get better. But when I found this place in New York, I knew that this was a really, really good deal. So I went for it. Now, I wanted to live in Manhattan. Manhattan's definitely the most expensive borough to live in New York City. If you're not familiar, Manhattan is an island, and then above it you have the Bronx. Here you have Queens, and here you have Brooklyn. Now, a lot of people go to Brooklyn because A, maybe they don't want as much of the city life. It's a little too overwhelming for them, or B, they like the price point of Brooklyn a bit more. If you're trying to live in Manhattan, the cheapest places tend to be the Upper East Side, which you're probably like, what? Isn't that where all the rich people live? Yes, but that's where all the families live. And most families aren't looking for 1-bedrooms, so they have a lot more available. Now, how do you find these apartments? Zillow.com, Street Easy. I actually found this place through a Facebook group called Gypsy Housing. And the reason why I didn't list that one first is it's a bit difficult because it's a Facebook group. So you can be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then you'll find the picture of the apartment that you're interested in, so you click it. But then when you go back, you go right back to the beginning and you're like, I've been scrolling for so long, I'm not trying to start from the beginning. Also, a lot of the places on Gypsy Housing are in Brooklyn. So if you're looking in Brooklyn, that's a good place to join. There's a few Gypsy Housing Facebook groups, so just join them all and take a look. Radpad, Street Easy, Zillow, and Gypsy Housing are my recommendations. I love filming videos right now. I swear to God, sometimes I'll just stop after saying something and like look at my camera and then like look at myself and be like, look at me, a little YouTuber. Little cutie ass bitch. How did you downsize your belongings for the move to New York City? I'm blessed, and I will explain. I had a ton of furniture in Los Angeles. I sold my bed to Olivia, who took over my room. I sold a bunch of stuff on Craigslist, left some stuff in the garage, gave like my camping stuff to Finley. I'm trying to think. So just like basic sell, give, donate so many Goodwill runs. Once I was down to all the things that I wanted to keep, I packed up my car and I drove across the country from LA to my parents' house in Virginia. I had unpacked everything from the car and I had moved it into my old bedroom, so when I go home, I just trade things out. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. This tip doesn't apply to everyone, but like, let's say you live in New Jersey and you're trying to move to New York City. I feel like that's so doable for you. How do you find young roommates in New York City? Well, my roommates are like 38 and 27, so. How much money did you save before moving there? Talking about finances is like so touchy, but I think it's so important. Like, I wish someone had given me more finance advice. I'll just answer this in terms of LA. When I was graduating high school, I saved up 10 grand to move myself to LA. It's also so much easier to save money when you're living at your parents because you don't have to spend, you know, a bunch of money on rent every month. When I meet people who are like my age and their parents still pay their rent, I'm like, I hate you. That's so nice. I pay for everything myself, like everything, unless my parents are like being super generous, and when they offer to pay for things, like I get uncomfortable because I'm like, dude, like, you don't do this anymore. Like, I don't want you to do this for me. Like, I don't like it. But like, obviously I'm so grateful for anything they've ever paid for. Cute and cheap places to eat and get coffee. Okay, if you're not vegan, Dollar Pizza. That's like the cheapest food place that you could ever get. I love the Bean, one of my favorite coffee places. I love to work there, and there's 3 different locations. La Pen, I love working there too. That's a cute little like French chain that they have there, that they have here, there. Overall tips that I would like to get across: bring as little as possible because you're not gonna have that much space. Get really creative. For example, I didn't have like a makeup brush holder. Like, this works perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. Honestly, for like me being someone who doesn't make like DIY videos, I feel like I do a lot of things like decor and stuff myself. I'll customize things a lot, but I don't ever make videos on it. But like, maybe I could do kind of, I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, this doesn't deserve a video, but I'm just saying little things like that. Maybe if I made like a bunch of them in a video. I don't know if anyone cares. Advice to New York. I'm so thankful to find a furnished place, because like I said, I didn't know how long I wanted to live in New York City. This was just kind of a sporadic life decision, and not having to worry about having to get a dresser and a bed and a desk. Amazing. Also, don't underestimate the power of street furniture. If you find something standing outside, you can so bring that in. That's so common here. My memory card ran out. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments down below and I will get to them. And if I see a lot of questions, I'll film a part 2 to this video. Other than that, subscribe, add me on notifications, all the things, all the things. I love you.
Wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6'4" bar. I wish I was like 6'9".